Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's the boy King CJ, and we are here with another Legends of Neverland video. Man, like I said, I'm really enjoying this game, and I picked a class. We're gonna call it the mage class, which is, aka the scholar class, right? So if any of you guys ever played an MMO, which I'm guessing a lot of you that are here have played it, this is mainly the mage class. This is the class that has the healing, the AoE, and things of that nature. And I am really loving this class. So I'm gonna give as much knowledge as I can on this character. I have played this character. I have tested out this character. I have used a lot of skills. I know which ones work, which rotations work, and what combos to go into it. So first, let's start off with the skills. So the way that this game works is you can take two paths, right? So the two paths for a scholar would be the DPS route, which would be more of the judge, as you guys can see on that far left judge, and then you have the right, which is more of the more support, and that would be more of the holy sacrifice. So these are things that they add buffs to you as far as heals, buff the attacking of your character and things of those natures. And I've played around with both of them, and I'm just going to come off like straight off the bat. I think judge is by far the better one, but if you want to be a support, you can also go holy sacrifice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start down with judge, and we're going to break down how the skills work. So everything on this left side is basically judge for the scholar. So you have this skill here, which it summons a phoenix shaped flame dealing X, Y, and Z damage depending on where it's ranked at. The reason I'm not going to really say mine is because it's awakened and things like that. So if you're a new player, yours won't really say this, but you can just read that. But the biggest thing that does come with this skill is it reduces the block from the target by 30% for 2 seconds. I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to show you guys why that matters. So let's also move on with this one. Again, this one summons an ice dragon to the target. X amount of X, Y, and Z damage, such and such. This one really reduces the movement speed of that target. This is something that is more akin to the PvP. And it really does help out in Crystal Battlefields and also Guild War. Because if a target's trying to get away and you pop this and now they're slow, easy setup for your teammates to get the kill, or even you get the kill. This one right here, it's nothing really special. It's just deals X amount of damage again. But this thing does have a hidden description. For some reason, it doesn't tell you. When you use this skill, it actually knocks people back, or if you want to say knocks people up. So if somebody's in the middle of a skill and you use this, it can actually interrupt them. So it's fantastic, again, in PvP. 100%. And now this next skill is basically the bread and the butter of the damage. You're going to really want to set this one up. This right here is the big single target damage. And the best thing about this is when you use this damage, if your break is higher than the block of the target, which is where that bird is coming in, right? You're going to do an additional 50% base damage on that value difference. Hey. Man, you synergize those together, more spicy. And then you also have the secondary, which is basically the next step to making this skill much better. So this one is crit damage. I think this one is also crit damage, and the next two should be additional damage, if I'm correct. Yes, increase the additional damage, and this one is, this one's an increase to crit damage. So as you guys can see, that's how that works. So in an orderly fashion, you in a perfect world, if you can set it up, you want to use the bird. So you're gonna have a rotation that kind of go like bird, dragon, tornado, but you don't want to use this skill. You want to wait for bird to come back on the, or phoenix if you want to call it that. You want to wait for that to come back down off the cooldown. Use it, lower the target's block, right? Because you're going to have more break than that said target. Then you want to use this to get that extra damage. And I'm going to show you how this works in game once we do get there. But yeah, it's pretty nutty. And now let's go over to the holy side. Now the holy side, it's not really more of a DPS thing. It is it's a support, so you're not going to see much pizzazz with this class because you're just being that glue character, right? So what I mean by that is you have this right here. All this does is, again, you're just generating an orb, you're pushing it out. Again, if you look, yeah, the damage is fine. It's X, Y, and Z damage, like I always say. And then it reduces the tenacity. Me personally, I think tenacity is useless in the game. You're going to get CC'd regardless, but it is there. Have at it. The next thing for that one is it does have additional damage on the second skill. Now this one right here is like the bread and butter of again, a lot of scholars out there. Like, even if you are running judgment, some scholars still use their heal if need be, and they can still pump out the damage. So this right here, it heals X, Y, and Z number amount because of when you it's gonna go up the more it goes up, such and such things of those natures, and that's kind of how that does stack regardless. This next one right here, it does give you a % chance to have your healing effect be more useful than it already is. I hate the fact that it is low though, because sometimes you heal and then you just feel like, that didn't heal for nothing. But then there's like other times when you do heal and then you almost go like half a bar and you're just like, holy crap, that was insane. So now you also got the next one. This is just kind of like just the AoE damage. It's fine. It doesn't really hit that hard, but as you can see, the more that it goes up, you get X, Y, and Z damage. I think this one is crit. No. Okay. I didn't really look at this one that much, but I guess it's just giving more skill damage, which is fine. And now this one right here is also the bread and butter of this class because it's going to increase the attack bonus and the crit. And man, these right here are fantastic in player settings, especially 3v3 settings. Oh my god, it's a work of art, man. It's a work of art in 3v3 settings, I'll tell you that. And then on top of that, all it does is it just reduces the cooldown of it the more that you get this up. I haven't pushed this to the max that it can go. I'll probably have some friends that does have that, but the reducing cooldown on this would be like fantastic. Maybe if you can like reduce at least 15% of this, maybe have it on a 21-second cooldown, I think this can be a very meta-defining support class. In all honesty, like if you can get this down to 20 cooldown seconds, well, I wouldn't see why a teammate wouldn't want to have them on their team. So we'll see when we get down the line. I might test that a little bit more whenever I can. So as you guys see, that's kind of the basics of this character. Now I do want to go over here. I'm going to pull my character up. And let's talk about the stats that you do want to focus on when you're playing this character. So when you're playing this character, as you guys seen, I run Judgment. And the way that Judgment works is, as I told you guys, you want to have more break than the character's block. And a lot of people are going to have high block. As you guys can see, I have like 2,000 block and only have 1,000 break. So again, if you use the bird to knock down that block, you're going to be golden with that the skill, as long as you have more break than that person's block, which is why that is so vital. And another stat that you want to focus on is your crit rate, because most of our skills, they are limited. Well, most of our highest damage skills, they're limited to only crit damage. They don't really give extra additional damage to the skill, unfortunately. So you want to have your crit as high as possible. That way when they do crit, that additional crit damage kicks in and you're fantastic about it. Also in the judgment state, if you can, find lifesteal, because majority of the times when you're in judgment, you're not going to have your healing ability. So it's nice to have some form of healing if you can, which would be the lifesteal rate. But again, Scholar is one of these characters where no matter, because of how generous they were, and they gave us the heal on the base of the character, like we don't have to pick Holy in order to get that healing. I think that has made this character like one of the ultimate, Swiss Army's knives, where you can go all in heal, all in support, all in damage, or you can be like mostly damage, but I still want to have a support role on it. And I think that this character has a lot of value to it, which is why I picked this said character. Now, game mode recommendations. Judgment, everywhere. everywhere. Honestly, man, this freaking character is like nuts everywhere you can think of. Anywhere where it's ranking, anywhere where it's carry, he's nuts. Freaking, if you're a free to play player, highly recommend you to go out with this character. You could probably rank a little higher in some of these things. I know that there are some other classes that do more damage, but you maybe can squeak in at least a top 10, top 20 with some whales in the judgment. You can also squeeze in some carries in the fire dragon lair, because this one is the fire dragon lair, it scales up with the base CP of your server, so it's always going to be hard, unfortunately. And judgment kind of just makes that thing a cake. On top of having the heal with it as well, you can pump out the damage and keep your alliance mates healing. Great. Arena, again, fantastic. The AoE is very good for the crystal battlefield. You also have the ladder, the 1v1. As long as you throw out your bird, use the one shot, the sword one shot skill, it's pretty much cake, man. All of this is really cake in all honesty. And then you have the top league. Top league is 3v3. I feel like judgment is alright in there, but I'm only saying it's alright compared to the Holy Sacrifice, because I definitely think Holy Sacrifice is a monster in this, because you at least have you at least have 2 damaging skills, and then on top of that you have 2 supporting skills, and nobody in this game right now has not been running supports. So if you can support both of your teammates and also yourself with buffs and heals and keep them alive, yeah, the other team is going to have a very, very, very tough time. Let me show you guys. So we are currently in 3rd place, and I am only, last time we did this, I'm like 790k. I'm 791k. He's 766k. He's 867k. We have teams like this that are just like bonkers that we can hang with. We're gonna have teams like this that are bonkers that we can hang with. Only for the simple fact of we have double healing. We have a support that boosts attacks. So we're kind of like playing on an even playing field with our survivability and our buff. So I've seen very, very great things for Holy Sacrifice. This is probably the only game mode where I can see Holy Sacrifice actually been over Judgment. So that's just my opinion. Do not kill me about it. So after that, now I can go deeper into what these classes do. So the way that Judgment works is, if you read the abilities, after releasing the Judge skills 4 times, the next skill will be enhanced. So the way that a lot of these work, right, you have the birds, it kind of, you throws it out. Well, a lot of them, they do more damage for sure. But like the birds, you're going to get additional birds. Then the Kiss of the Frost, that will be this giant dragon that comes up. When you're in your judgment state, it gets way bigger, way more AoE to it, and it also gets more damage. And then you have your tornado, that's basically the same. It gets bigger, it does more damage, it gives you more AoE. And then the chain. Now the way that this chain works is once it's purple, it gives you a bigger radius, more damage, and then on top of that, once you release the skill, it actually leaves a trail of fire, and it kind of like ticks over time like an after effect, if it makes sense, right? Because you hit them with it, and then your trail of fire, you just leave some blaze on the ground, and as long as they're standing in that, doesn't even have to stand in, like, once if they do get hit with it when it's purple, then it continuously ticks over time. Now I don't have any calculation on it. I barely see it, because once I do hit the people with the laser, they're basically just like donezo. Or if I'm fighting the boss, everything is just going so fast, so I really can't see it. And then on top of that, they don't even show the tick damage on it. So now let's move over to the sacrifice. Now it says when you release a skill, you would get a shield. That's another thing about this. So it gives you more survivability with this. Fantastic. And then the duration of the buff effect that attached to your skill with the Holy Sacrifice is increased by 35%. So now when you use these skills, they're also increased by 35%. Yeah, Holy Sacrifice can be crazy in the support direction, okay? So don't sleep on it. I mean, I'm sleeping on it. I've seen some people use it. This game is just, whenever this game actually rewards supporting, then I will probably switch to Holy Sacrifice. But for now, probably just gonna go ahead and stick with what I have in terms of, since this is an all DPS game, we're going to stick to the all DPS. So with that being said, I'm going to move over to some demonstrations of how you want to play the judge, and I'm also going to show you guys of how does the judge skill kind of work and factors in. So let's go ahead and get that moved over. We're going to open up an abyss. Now this one right here, I might or might not die. I kind of don't care at this moment. I'm just doing it for the lol. So let's create a team. Let's turn that off. We're going to enter solo. Alrighty. So, oh no. So it kind of messed up the rotation because it started off in auto, and I kind of wanted to show you guys like right off the bat of like how this works and how you want to play this. So enter directly. Alrighty, so we're in here. Let's all pay attention. So when you're playing judge, you're gonna notice there's gonna be a blue bar up top of your head. So let's start it off right now. Let's get a good angle so you guys can see it. So you want to release the bird, right? Then you want to throw out the tornado. Then you want to throw out the dragon. Now, as you guys can see, I have that blue bar over my head, and it's counting one. It has one more to it. Now, I'm going to throw this bird out, and now it's purple. And now you see the big light to it, and now it's not as light. So that's basically how that works, and it has a rotation to it. Now, I think there is a bug that is going on with Judgment at this moment, because what's supposed to happen is when you're playing this class, it's supposed to when it goes purple, it's supposed to refresh the skill itself, right? But I think what's happening is I think it's giving an extra. It's like it's on its own rotation. So for an example, I'm gonna pop this skill right here and watch. How? I'm not sure how that's how. I really think that the purple one is on its own rotation. In all honesty, because look, I'm gonna use this and still look at that. You see that it went into the judge phase and it was supposed to knock down the cooldown, but it's like the judgment phase has its own cooldown, if that makes sense. I'm gonna try to go back in and like show you guys even more of what I mean by that. After, I can still show it here. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna pop back up, finish this, whatever it is. So we're gonna, again, same rotation. Pop the bird, pop the tornado, pop that. We're gonna pop the bird again. Okay, so there we go. Now watch that skill. It is on an 18-second cooldown. When I'm supposed to go in the judgment phase, right, it's supposed to stop, and then now it starts back over in 30 seconds. Right. That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how it's supposed to work. I'm not sure. If anybody wants to watch this, devs, if you're watching this, I think you might want to go back in and change the description of how judgment is supposed to work. Let me see if it is in here. I have to release an attack. It should be somewhere. Where is that at? Oh, wait a minute. I think the description is gonna. Oh, wait. Will be enhanced, right? Yeah. I'm not sure. It used to say, I don't know if they updated this. I could be wrong. But it used to say whenever you go into the judgment phase, it resets the cooldown of the skill to I think it was like by 30% or something along those natures. But what it looks like it's doing is you use your skills, and then it feels like the judgment state is like in its own separate cooldowns. Even on top of that, this skill itself in a regular phase, it only has 20% cooldown. So I'm not understanding why when we go into the judgment phase, all of a sudden it has a 35-second cooldown. That right there is something that I don't get. I could be missing something. I'm probably not understanding it. Maybe I'm stupid. I'm not sure. It could be a bug. But however, if it is a bug, then I'm more than positive going to say that, man, if it is a bug and this character pumps out as much damage as it is, even with a bug going on with it, dude, once it gets fixed, this is going to be absolutely, it's going to be bananas, that's for sure. Yeah. I can't wait to see it. I hope that maybe there is a bug going on, or if not, it looks like they did just take away the description of the skill, which is weird, but I know a lot of people had questions on how that judgment worked. But yet it seems to how it's working right now that the judgment just has its own skill rotation, which is fine. But I think they should probably lower the cooldown times in there, because again, 35 seconds for that chain is pretty high. It's like 15 seconds more than our normal one. Should probably get somebody to look at that. But let's get on to the secondary class recommendations. So if you are the scholar and you want to run judgment, the second best thing that I can recommend you guys will be aka this guy here. And why I say that is because, look, you're the mage. You're supposed to be the support. When you go judgment, you basically take away most of your support. What this cannon does is it allows you to still get some sort of support in you, right? You get your turrets, you get your spiders. Now you can pull some more aggro, and you also get your shield. This shield, it heals you continuously as long as whoever's in it taking damage from it, it's going to be healing back to you. So you at least keep some sort of heal, and you at least keep some sort of aggro pulling and support for your teammates. Now, if you're going to go the Holy Sacrifice route, there's two actually that I can recommend you to use. That would be the Blade. That would be the Swordsman, or I guess the Gladiator if you want to. But that would be Gladiator. I mean, that wouldn't be Gladiator. That would be Berserker. Because Berserker, you have to like use HP to deal out more damage. You have to lose HP. The more HP you lose, the more damage you give out. So if you're in a Holy Sacrifice, if you get where I'm going with this, right? You see how that's coming on? You can heal yourself back, recuperate some of the HP you lose. Also, another class that I can recommend would be Marksman. That would be the Archer. And why? Because the Archer has like crazy damage, but they're kind of like very, very squishy. So these are the two recommenders that I can give out for you guys. I'm not sure how these classes work with like the Gladiator or the Armorer or what's that other one, Wind Chaser. I'm not sure how that works. If anybody wants to tell me if this is a good combination for you, I highly doubt it, because when some of those classes are pretty bad. But as far as the Scholar goes, I think it's a very well-rounded class. Again, I don't really see many weaknesses in both of the categories. The only thing is that right now, currently, the game doesn't really, outside of like 3v3 and maybe like Guild Wars, the game doesn't really reward you for being a support. So until like they reward you for being a support, I would recommend going Judgment 100%. Just do your DPS. And you know, if you need the healing, you can always put it on there, give yourself a hybrid build kind of feel. So that's everything that I have for the Scholar at this particular moment. I will always keep a guide up for it. I will be updating it as well. I will also make a spreadsheet on every character I do cover, so I can show you guys on how it does get down. So until then, hit the like button, man. Subscribe. I'm loving this game. We're going to have more content coming out. Also, next video I have coming out, I think that is going to be very good. I made a spreadsheet for it, and I can't wait to see you guys there. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Take care.